Inamomoane,
Alamanahea
inakaamo'ole,
walea
inaa'i,
anoma
unoko'ambe'e.
weo.
Welcome, beautiful hearts. I am Susan.
And I'm Carissa.
Together, we are two open hearts. Carissa and I are Dragon Reiki Masters, and we specialize in trauma healing in this lifetime and trauma healing in past lifetimes as well.
And today we're here to talk to you guys a little bit about self-care. And part of the reason is because right now in the Northern Hemisphere where we're at, we are coming into springtime. And not only that, but I feel that the energies are really ripe right now for taking care of yourself and maybe making some transformational steps as well. And if you think about it, spring is really transformational. We move from winter into spring and the plants come awake and they come alive again. Things start to grow. So it's a really good time. But I want to add that if you're stumbling upon this video from the Southern Hemisphere or at a later time, whenever you are called to watch this is the time that you may need to hear this message. So it's going to be the right time for you, no matter where you're at or when you watch this.
Yes, it will be the right time, no matter when you do see it. I know that I have been called right now to reevaluate my home, myself, time to make some changes. I am getting excited about springtime coming and spring and summer. It's my favorite times of the year.
Mine's just summer, but spring is like the springboard that gets us to summer. So I like it too.
Yes, it is like a springboard. We get ready, we start to see the budding in the trees and the plants are starting to come up. And so it does springboard us into those beautiful, warm days of summer.
Yes. And we have both been feeling the call for transformation for a few weeks already, actually. And it can be in different ways. So we wanted to talk about what self-care is. And a lot of times you hear the basics and they're all true. So self-care is about taking care of yourself, about making sure you get plenty of rest, about knowing how to put up boundaries. And sometimes self-care is hard, right? And boundaries can be hard for some people. Other things that are really important that come more easily or need to be put in the forefront are always giving yourself grace and unconditional love and loving yourself where you're at. And that is super important. But it's okay also to want to make changes. So it's not about loving yourself so much where you're at that you refuse to make changes you know you need to make. And making these changes is a form of self-care. It's just what I call the harder form of self-care, where you're doing things that aren't always fun and relaxing, but the result you get is going to make your life so much better.
I think that anything that you can do to simplify your life is so important. And so some of the hard things that we need to do, like right now, I've been pretty much been called to declutter some areas in my home. And even though it's not the most enjoyable thing to do, the end result is really nice. I have completed one room and it feels so good. So it was worth all of the effort to get it done, even though it wasn't that enjoyable to go through necessarily.
Right. They're not like your favorite things or stuff like that. And for me, it's been a little different because instead of a space, I've been made aware by my team and my guides and some of my friends of some different, let's say, like lack of boundaries I had with family members. As you may not know, but I have two kids, and right now we're doing remote school because of the COVID situation. And so I went from being someone who still was around kids a lot because I've been a stay-at-home mom for several years, in addition to doing an energy Reiki healing business. But I went from having that to being like also an advisor for them and helping them get their schoolwork done and help make sure they can connect with their teachers. So it's added a different side to it. And I was not setting proper boundaries. I was trying to make it as easy as it could be for my kids, because of course this is hard. And of course I want it to be as easy as it can be for them. But what I failed to do was make sure I was fully taking care of me first. I was sacrificing a lot of my like, if I needed a few moments to de-stress, I was running around crazy getting them things they are quite capable of getting themselves, because I wanted it to be so easy for them. But what happened after a long period of sustaining that, we've been at remote school since August, it's now March, is that I was burning out. And instead of being able to help them make it easier, it was harder on everybody, because I hadn't been taking care of myself and making them do things when they were able. I was trying to take it all for them, and it wasn't working. So that's been made aware for me last month. And I've already implemented several changes, and it's going so well because my kids are great and responsible and able to do so much. And of course, I still want to make it easy, but not at the expense of myself. Because when mom starts getting cranky and stressed out, guess what? Everybody is screwed, right? Like, everybody in the house is cranky and stressed out then. So the trick is take care of mom. Make sure for me, I've got to take, like, on their lunch break, I go meditate, or I just sit down sometimes and let them run around grabbing their supplies, instead of me always dropping what I'm doing at the drop of a hat when it's something they can take care of. And we're all happier. So that's been a big self-care for me. And that can be hard to see. You want to take care of your family and you don't always see it.
Yes. And I think as healers, sometimes we have a capacity to always be wanting to care for others and put others ahead of us. And that's not always the best thing to do, because
No, we have
again,
touched on that, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's important to fill your cup, but sometimes it's hard to know what the heck that means.
That's true. That's true. Sometimes you just have to experience some different things. And in the end, hopefully there will be light shed on it, so that you can see and make the changes that are necessary.
Yes. Yeah. And just be willing to accept those changes when they come. If you're totally burning out and you're exhausted, there's probably some way in which you're giving more than you should be, or giving more than you can. And you've got to look for ways to pull back in different areas so you can recover yourself, because everyone will do better in that situation.
Yes. Yes. When your cup is full, it'll overflow to everyone else in your life, and to everyone else that you meet, actually, too.
Yes. That allows you to shine so much brighter. So much brighter.
It does.
I'm going to reference my notes real quick, just because I feel like there was another thing we wanted to add here or talk about.
Well, as you do that, I did want to kind of touch base on movement. I think that there are so many different energies coming in all the time now. And I think that it's important to move, no matter what that movement means to you. It doesn't matter what it is, but it helps the energies move through our bodies and to get kind of set in place, but to keep us in the flow of things. So it's important, especially now in the springtime, to keep moving. It's whatever type of movement you're drawn to, whatever feels good, just move.
Another thing is, if you aren't in a place where you listen to a lot of music right now, because a lot of people are working from home, they're missing their commute, they're not out there listening to music, it's a great time to just listen to some music and move. You can dance in your living room. You can go up and down your stairs. The kids and I have been taking time to go for neighborhood walks, and I don't like winter. Like, I'm not even going to play you or pretend or fake it. I know nature is beautiful all year, and I believe that. I love the trees, even without leaves. And I love the birds and the squirrels. Thank gosh there's birds coming to my yard, right? So I can see that life. But I do not like cold, and I do not like snow. And on a gray, cloudy day, I'm so uninspired. But I've been like strapping on like a speaker onto my waist belt, and we've just been rocking out to like rock and roll around the neighborhood. And I'm like, sorry, neighbors, we're not all going to wear headphones because there's 3 of us and we're listening to the same music. So we're blasting AC/DC and stuff as we walk around, but it's gotten us out of the house. So we've gotten that movement, and we've gotten a little bit more nature too. So find a way to take something you don't like very much, like for me, outside in the cold, and bring something you miss, like listening to music, and you combine them for something that's okay then.
That is great. Yes, because we all need to be outside in nature as much as possible too. Even though I know I also really don't enjoy the cold and I don't enjoy the snow, but it is so important all year round to get outside and be in nature and hug a tree and just be out there listening to the birds and getting some movement like what you and the boys are doing. That's great.
Yep. But even if it can't be outside, just find a way to move your body a little bit, because it's another one of those things that might be hard. It might be something you don't want to do. It doesn't come naturally. But the benefit is endorphins. They help you get happier. It's maybe just getting refreshed energetically, or maybe even helping you shed some of the weight you gained this winter if you start moving enough. Not saying that or that has to happen for anyone, but there's positives that come. They're just not always instant, right? It's not instant gratification.
Exactly. And, it could be something as simple as walking in place or just walking around your living room, your kitchen, just taking some steps, just so that you're getting some movement. I think that the pandemic has been hard on a lot of people, not being able to get out and do what was normal for them. So the movement now, I think, is just so important, no matter what it is you choose to do, just so that you get some movement.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, it is. And in general, this is just a good time. The energy is ripe. Like I was saying, the energy is ripe for making these changes. So a lot of you who tune into this and are still listening by now are going to know that you have a nagging thing in the back of your mind that you want to do or that you need to do, whether it's change a bad habit, be on less social media, eat healthier, move more, it's endless. Declutter, whatever it is that you need to do, and that if you do it, you will have happier times. This is just us supporting you, saying, hey, we get that. And I have ignored some things for a long time, and it's the energy is now. So there's a lot of helpful universal energy to support you right now. If you feel like, okay, I'm hearing it again, I keep hearing I'm supposed to do this, maybe it's now that I finally take this big step.
Yep, that's right. And I think that sometimes too, it might help if there's somebody that you especially admire or look up to. Find somebody that inspires you. Find whoever that may be. I mean, there's so many people that have done so many amazing things in the world. Find someone that inspires you, and that can also help to garner the motivation to make the transformation, to make some things happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's simple. If you don't have someone you already know, look up the topic that you want to push for. Look it up on YouTube, look it up online, and see if you can find someone who is a motivator for you, someone who has transformed their life in such a way that you can do it too. Because there are people out there transforming their lives every day, and you can do it. It is so possible. One of the things that's been in my way with eating more healthy is I live in a household of 5, and there's a lot of food around all the time, and I tend to emotionally eat. So being a stay-at-home mom, teacher, like during this time around food has been really a struggle. But even without that, I know that I have to eat differently than many of the people in my home, and it's been hard. And so I've tried to make little changes or make a little adjustments. And guess what? Going little wasn't working, because it wasn't enough to overcome the habit of what I was stuck in. And so Susan and I are actually going to together this month in March do a detox. We're going to do a detox program. And that's our big step to totally change the way we're doing it, in hopes that after 30 days, we can keep going longer till we have 90 days of change. And then it's a habit of a new way of doing things. Because sometimes just trying to eat a little more healthy or put a little bit more bread down isn't enough to change the situation. If you're still around stuff, sometimes you have to make a bigger change in order to succeed.
Yes. So the go big or go home kind of does apply. Just go big. Don't go little, go big. I think that it can also, not only with changes, I know that I do not take enough time to play with my creativity, to do different crafts and things that I really enjoy, or things that I have in the back of my mind that I want to do. And so I'm taking this time also to really take a look at the transformation of putting all of that into play, letting my creativity free, and making time to do different crafts and um, just enjoy myself on that level as well in this transformation.
Yeah, like spending your time more wisely. So instead of, I mean, not that you're not, because you have a lot of work and a lot of things going on, but instead of choosing maybe to sit and watch a show one day, you can choose to go make something instead. So that way you can use your time. That'll benefit you more. And this is true of everyone, right? Like if you're on
Yep.
your screens a lot and you're scrolling Facebook, you're scrolling Instagram, you're scrolling Pinterest, a lot of times, this is me personally, but I know it's going to apply. If you are nonstop trying to distract yourself, a lot of times it's because there's something you need to work on. There's some trauma that needs healed. There's something you're putting off that you just need to just do it. It's important to just take the bite, right? Like don't put it off, don't wait, just get started doing that work. It'll be done before you know it. And then you won't feel like you have to just avoid your life. You'll be then motivated to do something else that serves you, right? Being excellent for excellence sake. Don't avoid what you don't want to do. Just tackle it and let it be done. Even if it's a trauma, even if it's sometimes what I have is not any paperwork, it's not anything. It'll be like the energy's brought something up and I need to draw myself a box and cry in it, right? Like just let it out for 20 minutes. And that's the thing I'm avoiding. And then once it's out and I can move on and I can do something else.
That's true. That is so true with you. We just make the time to make those things happen. And I think that it's important to, when we're looking at that, how maybe we can not watch a TV show and go do a craft, release some of our creativity. I think that it's also important to remember that we need to guard what we're allowing into our lives with what we watch, what we listen to, and all of that combined will make our lives happier. I think if we're being more mindful and being very selective about what we allow into our beautiful minds.
Right. Like protecting our energy in general, allowing only specific things to come into our energy field.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. And they might be hard. And maybe you need to change in lots of these ways and you can't tackle it all at once. And that's okay too. Just pick one. Just pick one today. Go, man, I've known in the back of my mind that this is coming up and I'm hearing it again via these beautiful women on YouTube that it's time to make a change. And then go start searching, like we were saying, search motivational people, search people who have done this transformation before and can show you results, not so you can do exactly what they're doing necessarily, unless that works for you, but just so you can find the motivation to begin yourself. Because once you see other people succeeding and it can happen for you, you believe it can happen for you, you're much more likely to go and take that step and succeed.
Exactly. And I think that, as Carissa said, pick one thing, baby steps. Baby steps will get you to the finish line. Sometimes we can't take on a bunch of changes all at once. That's difficult. We all, there's different things in everybody's life. But if you just take one baby step at a time, do one thing, sometimes it'll actually just snowball on you. And before you know it, you're a transformed person.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And to support this today, we have a social community on a website called Zen Banyan. And so we're going to start in the community forum, just an area. So anyone who watches this and is deciding to make a transformation or looking for support, if you want to ask Susan and I any questions, you can go there and ask stuff. We'll come on and answer. And I'll post a little bit about the transformations I'm going through too. So that way it can be a nice supportive place. And I'll put that in the link in the description box.
Yep. And I will also put in there the transformation that I am going through. And we will just offer a support center for everyone.
Yep. So if you're looking for just a little extra people listening or understanding or any advice of any kind, we'll be here.
Yes, we're here for you.
So with that said, if you have enjoyed this video today, if you have found it useful or valuable, please remember to like and hit the subscribe button, and we will see you next week.
Yes, thank you for joining us.